بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum, my beloved ones, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we are going to take the Q&A which are available in the annex or the appendix of the Manasik al-Hajj. These Q&As are related to the rulings of Tawaf, which we were discussing. So let's see the question number one related to this issue of Tawaf. So we have just make sure that perfect. And the question, there are some repeated questions. I'll just skip them, and some they were in the theme, so you all know them from the theme. So I'll just try to focus on things which were not in the theme, the main theme of the Manasik al-Hajj, the main rulings that which we did in the main context or main text of the Manasik. So this question is إذا أحرم الولي بطفله غير المميز. So if a guardian makes his child enter the state of ihram, who's this child? Non-discerning child. Child who, number one, because you know that the children who have not reached the age of adolescence are two types. One is those who have reached the age of discerning, one who have not reached that age of discerning. Now, obviously, reaching the age of discerning, what is the definition of reaching the age of discerning? Uh, they can distinguish between good and bad. They can distinguish between male and female. They can distinguish a lot of uh, things which are not obvious to a child who is less than their age. And this is a relative issue. We have to go with average because there are times, once upon a time, a guy would reach 14 and 15 years and would not know what happens between the husband and wife in the wedding night. So, so it will be that person will be he has reached the age of adolescence, but he cannot distinguish between these kind of things. And I know several youth from India and Pakistan who used to live in villages. They were so like surrounded by conservative environments, and they had this purity of mind and purity, like their minds were not dirty and messed up like nowadays. You see, so they would not know, and they would, and I would be surprised and I'd be shocked. They say, what do you exactly do in certain cases? It's a wedding night, for example. So yeah, I have seen those type of youth as well. So don't be surprised if somebody is like 9 years old and he has been kept in a very close environment. Now this is nowadays it's difficult with this social media, and everybody goes in this Facebook and says I'm 18 years old and just opens an account and opens an email. So it's a dangerous era. So very rarely now you can find someone that age. So, but then yes, if the discerning child is an average, like sometimes you see 4 or 5 years old nowadays, they can understand the differences between male and female, and a bit about so that they're good or bad, halal and haram, like mumayyiz, like tamyiz, yani distinguish, like child who's able to distinguish between good and bad, between haram and halal, between male and female functionalities and something like that. Like I'm talking about private functionalities, okay? So I mean, not the whole detailed, but still they can understand. Oh, there is something going on, and then there is this baby or something like that. So these things are show that the child has a certain level of distinguishing capacity between things. So الصبي المميز he is able to to distinguish. And if you go mumayyaz, that means he's a unique child. He has certain capacities and certain abilities, unique. But mumayyiz, like discerning child, a child who can discern. It's mumayyiz, ism fa'il, subject, and not mumayyaz, ism maf'ul. Anyhow, so a guardian brings his child into a state of ihram, and he wants that child to do tawaf. And we see a lot, like when we go to Umrah and Hajj, we see some parents, they bring their babies and they wear them. Now you can let them wear ihram, but we advise not to get him into the state of ihram. فهل يجب عليه أن يوضئه للطواف؟ So will it become obligatory upon that guardian to let him enter the state of to get his wudu, to make him perform the wudu, correct wudu for the tawaf? وهل يجب عليه أن يراعي تحقق شروط الطواف في حقه وكذا السعي؟ And will it be obligatory upon that person, that guardian, to observe to to observe um, the conditions of tawaf? Okay, to fulfill the conditions of tawaf in his right. Remember, there are conditions of tawaf and there are obligations of tawaf. Conditions are like pre-tawaf things you have to fulfill them in order for the tawaf to be correct. And the wajibat of tawaf are those things which construct the the tawaf itself. And similarly for the sa'i. Obviously, sa'i wudu is not wajib, but he's talking in general the conditions, prerequisites required for tawaf, prerequisite required for sa'i. الجواب, the answer, لا يجب عليه أن يوضئه للطواف. It would not be obligatory upon him to perform wudu for him, like make him perform the wudu. وكذا لا يعتبر رعاية بعض الشروط الأخرى. ها سيدنا? He says, similarly, it is not required to fulfill some of the conditions. Some of the conditions. So, Sayyidina, what are the conditions that he needs to fulfill them? So he says, similarly, it is not required for him to fulfill some of the other conditions, such as what, Sayyidina? Such as fit tawaf, like for example, fit tawaf, such as the pure. So similarly, it is not required for him to fulfill some of the other conditions required in tawaf, such as what, Sayyidina? Such as purification from the physical impurity, okay, urine, stool, those kind of things. Obviously you cannot make the Masjid Haram najis, but that baby was in diaper, for example. The people, they bring their babies and do them the umrah, which we said a little bit. Let's try to stay away. Yeah, you can bring him at the blessing. Let him make a recommended tawaf for him. Like you also can do recommended tawaf, but don't get him entangled into these obligations of umrah. Once he becomes enters the state of ihram, then tawaf is must, 2 rakat tawaf is must. All these things, they become must. And if that child was you are not able to perform those things properly, correctly, that child will be stuck in his state of ihram for until he realizes that his dad got him into trouble, and now he has to go umrah and get himself out from the state of ihram, or let somebody there do the niyabat on his behalf, so that it calls him, oh khalas, your sa'i is done, now you can do the taqsir, or your tawaf in nisa is done, now you can get engaged. So those kind of things are really don't let your children get into those. I mean, it's not haram, it's not prohibited, but then it's not also desired to put your child into certain things which he might get stuck into. So, such as purification from the physical impurity, khabath, such as urine and stool and um, but if it's secured in diaper so that it does not spill on the ground of Masjid Haram, because you cannot cause the masjid to become najis. Well, khitan, circumcision, and those. So the circumcision is not required. The purification from the physical impurity is not required. Wudu is not required, because the question was about wudu. So wudu and any other thing لا يجب عليه أن يوضئه, it is not obligatory upon him to make him perform the wudu, or any similarly any other to fulfillments of any other conditions, such as purification from the physical impurity and circumcision. وأما مثل كون الشروع من الحجر الأسود وكونه من خارج حجر إسماعيل عليه السلام فلا بد من رعايته. However, as long as for certain obligations, such as starting from the Hajj al-Aswad, remember Hajj al-Aswad, this area, okay, this corner of the screen. So we used to give example. So now I'm going to continue giving example on this corner of. So starting from Hajj al-Aswad, that means a bit before, and finishing with Hajj al-Aswad, that means a bit after. And it should not be like Hijr Ismail is in this area, the arch where it is said that grave of Prophet Ismail alayhi salam and Hajar alayhi salam, and 70 prophets were there. So not to go inside Hijr Ismail, and the tawaf should be out of Hijr Ismail. فلا بد من رعايته. Then these conditions are or obligations should be accomplished, should be fulfilled. One should observe those. وكذلك كون الشروع في السعي من الصفا ونحو ذلك. Similarly, the sa'i should start from Safa and Marwa. So you cannot start, oh, he's a child, let me start from Marwa. No, 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 no. Do it properly. So these are they construct the tawaf and the sa'i, the obligations of sa'i and the obligations of tawaf, that it should be on a specific way, specific manner, specific methodology. So what about if you are doing tawaf to your child and the child sleeps? Okay. The question number two: إذا تم إطافة الطفل في حال النوم وكذلك في السعي فهل يصح؟ You have this baby, okay, and while you're doing tawaf, he enjoyed the tawaf and the hyperbolic effects of the tawaf and spirituality and everything. He slept. Or the sa'i, Safa and Marwa. You know, like when you carry the baby here and there, so he sleeps. Like many times, these children, they sleep. They like the movement, and the movement makes them, give them that comfort in a way that they sleep. So he slept. So, I mean, the wudu is not necessary, and you are the one making the tawaf for him and making the sa'i. So, الظاهر أنه لا يضر بالصحة. If he was not mumayyiz, not mumayyiz, non-discerning child, that has not reached the age of discerning, then there is no problem in that. The tawaf will be correct, and the sa'i will be correct. So as long as, but if it's discerning, so there are other rules. Like discerning child is as if he was baligh, in several rules. Question number three. This is we mentioned in the theme, okay. هل يعتبر في بداية كل شوط من أشواط الطواف السبعة قصد ذلك الشوط بعنوان أنه الشوط الأول أو الثاني أو الثالث وهكذا. Is it required for to start the every round, so intention of every round, that means is it required to start every single round with the precise intention that I am now entering the first round. I am now entering the second round. I am now entering the third round. من الأول each round وهكذا. Is it required like to mention every, I mean, to make the intention قصد قصد ذلك الشوط, not necessarily with the tongue, no, in the heart, because intention is the place of intention is in the heart, that this is my first round, this is my second round. وهكذا. أو يكفي أن ينوي الإتيان بسبعة أشواط في البداية ويستمر في الطواف إلى أن تكمل سبعة أشواط. Or it is sufficient to perform the 7 rounds, to make the intention from the beginning that I am going to perform 7 rounds, and continue until the seven rounds are finished. So basically, if you recall in the rules of holy month of Ramadan, what did we say? We said that the whole idea is when, from now, I mean, still we have so many months left for holy month of Ramadan. From now, we can say this year, inshallah, I'm going to fast every single day of the holy month of Ramadan. You did your intention. Or I'm going to fast the whole the 23 days, and 1 week I'm going to travel here and there. So you made the intention of 23 days. So if your travel get cancelled, then you can make the intention of the remaining 7 days. Okay. But at this point, you have made intention of 23 days. Now, this is called a bulk intention. So as in the fasting, the bulk intention is sufficient. Similarly, in the tawaf, a bulk intention for 7 rounds, or in the sa'i is sufficient. What does that mean? That means you have it in your heart that you are going to perform 7 rounds, okay, one after another. It's in your heart. So when you're doing tawaf, you're aware about what you're doing, and this awareness is your intention. So you don't have to specify, I'm entering the 6th round, I'm entering the seven, inside your heart. That awareness is there. I need to do 7, and this is part and parcel of my 7 rounds, a package of my 7 rounds. And obviously, you have to keep the track of it, otherwise you'll get into doubt, you'll forget all those kind of things. To avoid that, you'll keep the track of it in your mind. Now, I have this many rounds left, this many. So as long as this awareness is there, that is your intention. You're counting with the tasbih, you're counting with this, you're counting with that. You know that we mentioned that how to keep the track of the tawaf. So there are 7 du'as, okay, for each round, one du'a. Now make sure that these du'as are short. So once the du'a is finished, keep repeating the du'a, so that it becomes firm in your mind that this dua was the first. So I did the first dua because it's in your mind. I did the second round's dua. That's number one. Decide 7 surahs, preemptive decision before, ahead of time, before you travel, that I'm going to recite the 7 surahs in each round. I'll keep repeating this surah. So round number one, Surah Al-Fatiha, I'll keep repeating. Round number two, Surah Al-Tawheed, Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, Ikhlas. Round number three, Al-Falaq. Round number four, An-Nas. Round number five, إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر. Round number six, إنا أعطيناك الكوثر. Round number seven, إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. These are short surahs. Most of our beloved ones, they memorize it. So keep repeating it. So once you doubt, oh, I don't know, but I had decided the third round is going to be Surah An-Nas, and I've kept repeating Surah An-Nas. So on Hajj al-Aswad, I stopped. So that means this is going to be a fourth round or something like that. So, so there are so many methods you can decide. Don't know the surahs, do the dhikr. What is the dhikr? Number one round, salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. Finish first round. Make this in your mind decision preemptively. That program yourself. So when you, then second one, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, astaghfirullah. The third round, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Fourth round, la ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Fifth round, subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Sixth round, hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil, hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. You have a lot of dhikr, these short lines of dhikr. Choose 7 and just keep salawat from the one of those. Maybe you can start with salawat and end with salawat. So you can sandwich your tawaf in between salawat. So Yeah. Anyhow, those are technical things you are nowadays. Like for example, many people they recite dua on the cell phone. So they recite dua kumail, for example. So the moment they reach the end of the tawaf, there's a click screenshot. So one screenshot done, then they continue the dua, then second screenshot. So they have these screenshots. If they doubt, they check how many screenshots are there. Okay, there are like five screenshots. That means I've done 5 rounds, but this is my sixth round. So nowadays with this technology, you see, you can have reciting Dua Josh al Kabir. You can recite, but Dua Josh al Kabir too is too big for the tawaf. The tawaf finishes in 10 to 15 minutes. If you're doing from closer, yeah, if you're doing farther rounds, then it might take 1 hour for 50 minutes. Then you can do Dua Josh al Kabir. So basically, even Sa'i, Safa, and Marwa, half of the Dua Josh al Kabir you'll be done with your Sa'i, Safa, and Marwa. So anyhow, those are technicalities. So it's in your mind. Even if you don't mention this is my fifth, I'm entering my fifth round, it's your mind to keep the track. So automatically by default, that intention is there embedded inside your heart. Okay, so let's see this one. Yeah, so he said it's sufficient, the one bulk intention. يكفي ما ذكر أيضا, and it is sufficient that just one bulk intention is sufficient for the tawaf. You don't have to in every round may intend for that. Question number 4. إذا كانت المرأة تستعمل صبغ الأظافر, if a woman she was using nail polish, الحاجب عن وصول الماء إلى الظفر, which prevents the water from reaching the nails. فحجت كذلك, she went for Hajj with having this nail polish. جهلا, unintentionally, unknowingly, unaware, okay, منها بأن وجود الصبغ, she was not aware that the nail polish prevents the water from reaching the nail, and it invalidates the wudu. So what is her responsibility? Kiss your Hajj goodbye, because the salat, wudu is a very simple obligation. People they say how this is too tough. It's not too tough. Let's put it opposite. How we are so negligent about an obligation which is very simple. It takes less than 1 minute, if not 30 seconds. In one bottle of water, where is half of this bottle, not even one, this is a big bottle. So half of this bottle of water, less than half a minute, a person can, this is a wajib. If that a Muslim cannot do, so what good is in Muslim? If the simple, and Islam emphasize on purification and purity a lot. And that's the difference between Islam and other religions. Maybe some other religions might have it, but Islam stressed on purification. Islam wants to purify a human from in and from out. So when we do purity out, we start taking necessary steps to purify ourselves from in. Remember, external worship and internal worship. If this is not, if this is not feasible for a Muslim person, so that's why it's very strict, this ruling of wudu. Some parts of the tawaf you miss, some parts of the way the hand went unintentionally, you did not know that your arm went here and there and whatever. But the wudu is condition for salat. Even salat, kiss your salat goodbye. There is no mercy. If not wudu, tayammum. What if I cannot do wudu? Fine, tayammum. Knowing the rules of wudu and tayammum is a responsibility of every Muslim. So because salat is invalid, even if somebody did not know how to, he did wudu, but his wudu was wrong. So salat is invalid. So therefore, it is not, because sometimes people they say, oh, Islam is too tough religion. Baba, no, 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 no. Don't blame Islam. A very simple ibadah Islam asks us to do. Where is this toughness? Okay. You, Islam will tell you you are negligent Muslim, a blessing Allah gave you. And for when? Once in a lifetime, you're going to do tawaf. And how many tawaf? Only three tawaf. First tawaf of Hajj, Umrat al-Tamattu, second tawaf of Hajj, and third tawaf of Nisa. For three tawaf, is it too much to ask you to perform your wudu? And if you're doing Umrah al-Mufrada, two tawafs, Tawaf al-Umrah and Tawaf al-Nisa. Is it too much? You're spending ticket, you're making sure that the flight I don't miss, this I don't miss, that I don't miss, the hotel, this and that. I don't want to end up there. Can't you just do some learning, some homework about how to do the tawaf the way Allah wants? So this is our problem here, serious problem, that we blame Islam for being tough. We don't blame that how much negligence we are. You see? So, and then they come that, oh, what is Islam like this one? And these are influenced by enemies of Islam, Satans, which are like external Satans and internal Satans. Internal Satan which come and put waswasa. How's this Islam? What of a religion is it? Am I just like, I did not do wudu, khalas, what? I did not do something which was 30-second obligation. So what? So what? No. How could you neglect something which was as simple as something which is essential for your salah? How many times you have to do wudu in daily? For school of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they are doing combination of the Salat al-Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha, one wudu for two. So daily you're going to do three wudu only. One for Fajr, one for Dhuhr and Asr, one for Maghrib and Isha. Is that too much? Did Islam ask you too much? No. Purify yourself, bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why purify? Does Allah require my purification? No. You require that purification to be able to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're driving. Don't you clean your windscreen if it's dirty so you can see the road? It's not that the road needs your cleaning of the windscreen. So we have this opposite mentality. We always think that does Allah want? Is Islam? No. What about me? Am I not to be taken the blame of missing out a minimum smallest? Anyhow, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So yes, what does she do? The nail polish. And obviously, I mean, nowadays, mashallah, there are so many ladies in the community, and they will tell other sister, don't do this nail polish before salah, because unless you do the wudu. And we have, alhamdulillah, nail polish removers. Once upon a time, these nail polish removers were not available. Now, everywhere in groceries, you'll find nail polish removers. So this kind of thing is not difficult. This is our negligence that we are not aware that we need to remove the paint and the oil and those kind of things from the body. Yes, if somebody says, oh, I can't, I'm a painter and this and that, and I don't have time to go and remove the paint from my parts of wudu and hand, fine, just do this much area and do tayammum, okay? So that you can strike your hand and do tayammum, but don't let your salah become qada. Very simple. Tayammum takes like 5 seconds, less than 5 seconds, um, if uh, if you're used to it. So these are simple rules. You see, we can't blame Islam for just being tough. No. So kiss your Hajj goodbye if you have nail polish and you're not aware. Okay, and you perform the Hajj, then Hajj is invalid. Yabtul Hajjuha. Her Hajj will become invalid. And what? These are one of the things. If tawaf is invalid, then that's a camel zone. What does that mean, camel zone? So, on the basis of obligatory precaution, she will have to pay a penalty of camel, slaughter a camel. Okay. But what? She was unaware. Okay, I mean, here it's ihtiyat wajib. Maybe some marja might have some flexibility in it. But say the Sistani has this ihtiyat because there is there is a kind of indication from certain narrations and he doesn't want to let it go. So it's a precautionary measure. Here, kafara issue, you can refer to someone, you can't pay, you can pay an installment, collect some money, so that, oh, this Hajj has become so costly. The camel is about $10,000. Well, so what can we do? That's what people they do. They go for Hajj and Umrah as they are going for a picnic or something like that, Spain trip or Malaga trip or whatever trip they go. Baba, this is not entertaining. This is, yeah, this spiritual entertainment. Yes, then follow the spiritual directions. Anyhow, question number 5. إذا كان طواف حجه باطلا لفقد الطهارة ولم يعلم بذلك إلا بعد سنوات. So this question says if the tawaf of Hajj is invalid due to the lack of tahara, purification, okay, ولم يعلم بذلك, and did not know after so many years, فما هو حكمه? What is his ruling? Kiss your Hajj goodbye. حكمه محكوم حجه محكوم بالبطلان. Hajj is so no, but it was like early days, Baba. If you are early days in Islam, you don't have to jump for Hajj. First, learn the basics of wudu, tahara, and then attend the ahkam of Hajj if you are really in rush to go for Hajj. Okay, so it's muqaddimatul wajib wajib. If Hajj becomes wajib upon you, then knowing the rules of Hajj becomes also wajib. The general rules, these obligations, the things which are crucial. And these things are not that many. Purification, performing the tawaf. You did wudu, but you did not do the tawaf. And sometimes some of these tawafs it can be done by a na'ib, someone who is there, but not having wudu and performing the tawaf, and then the sequence of all the other. And this is we are talking about Hajj. Okay, so this is a serious issue. Question number 6. شخص أتى بعمرتين مفردتين ثم علم. What did he know? What did he realize? Somebody performed 2 umrahs. Okay. So this guy did 1 umrah, went to Masjid al-Tan'im, which is about like 10 kilometers about, and he entered the state of Ihram again. And then he came back, Umrah Mufrada. So obviously, in 1 month, you cannot do more than 1 umrah for yourself, but you can do for someone else. So you went to enter the state of ihram to do umrah for someone else. After that, he realized ثم علم بأن وضوءه في إحداهما كان باطلا لنجاسة مواضعه. He realized that one of the wudus, okay, was invalid because the area of wudu was najis. Remember, before performing the wudu, you need to remove the najasat. And even while during the wudu, if you have been able to remove the najasat, that would be fine. فما هي وظيفته فعلا? So what is his responsibility in reality, his real responsibility? الجواب مقتضى الاستصحاب بقاؤه على الإحرام. Okay, so that means he entered the state of Ihram. The first one. Okay, we are talking about the first one. So he entered the state of Ihram. Now we are doubting that because Ihram, entering the state of Ihram does not require wudu. We are doubting in what? We are doubting that did he perform the Umrah, Tawaf, and exited. He doubts one of the wudu was invalid. So which one was? So he did the wudu. علم بأنه, he did the wudu, but he does not know which wudu was invalid. So number 1, application of istishab. Istishab, if you recall, means that you extend the previous certainty. Certainly he entered the ihram, so he's muhrim. Now which one he doesn't know. So normally the rule is like that. But say this Sistani seems that he's performing, he's observing a precautionary measure here. So normally, uh, if you do Umrah, or if you have one wudu, you if let's say you did two wudu for the tawaf of the first Umrah and wudu for the tawaf of the second Umrah. One of the tawaf was invalid. So what will we say? At least one wudu was correct. So we will consider the first Umrah's wudu was correct. And the second Umrah, here also we are stretching the istishab. Definitely one of those two wudus was correct. So the first one, he did the wudu. And the second one, he did the wudu. So I'm doubting in the invalidity of the first or the second. We will say the second is invalid because that's the later one. And the first is okay. This is just like giving the rule solution to the doubt. So we will consider the second because it's the later one. That's number one. Number two, remember qa'idatul faragh. Qa'idatul faragh, once you are done with the tawaf, okay, you doubt this one or that one. You know definitely one of them is invalid, but which one? So the first Umrah, you are done. So you have doubt, was the first Umrah invalid or the second Umrah invalid? First Umrah, you're done. So you will apply Qa'idat al-Faragh there. So now second Umrah is also done. But here you don't have doubt, remember. You have yaqeen. Certainly one of the wudus was invalid. So some of the scholars, they will say the first Umrah is correct. And the second Umrah, you do the amal of Umrah Mufrada, redo. Ihram is there, you're in the state of Ihram. He did two Ihrams. He did Tawaf for first and Tawaf for second, like in each Ihram. So he did the package from Ihram till end. But he doesn't know which wudu was invalid. So scholars, the first wudu, so there's a doubt. There's a doubt and there's a yaqeen. So for the doubt, is the first Umrah invalid or the second Umrah invalid? We'll say first Umrah is definitely valid. Why? Because it is after you're doubting, was that Umrah valid or not valid? So you have two doubts. One, previous one's Umrah, second one. We'll say previous ones, let us consider it's valid. Because Qa'idatul Faragh is applied on a doubt after the Umrah. So actually you are doubting in what? Was the first Umrah correct or not correct? That means the najasat was there in the first wudu, so first Umrah's wudu, or in the second. So for the first, we will put that faragh and finish it off. For the second, we have a problem. We have faragh as well, but then there's a yaqeen. And remember, some scholars, they will apply the rule of ilm al-ijmali. That means we have yaqeenan invalidness. But which one? The first Umrah or the second Umrah? So those who use Qa'idat al-Faragh for the first, they will say repeat one Umrah. Those who apply Ilm al-Ijmali, they will say repeat both Umrah. So because there is a doubt and there is a yaqeen, that's Ilm al-Ijmali. But one doubt is resolved by what? By Qa'idat al-Faragh. So you have removed one case of doubt. Then the certainty is remaining. But where is it remaining? For the second one is so definitely the second one is the wudu was invalid because of the najasa. So that's why Sayyidi Sistani says فالأحوط وجوبا أن يرجع ويأتي بأعمال العمرة المفردة. So on the basis of obligatory precaution, he should go and perform the أعمال of Umrah al-Mufrada. He did not say أعمال of both Umrahs. See the wording of Sayyid Sistani. One Umrah. And this is also obligatory precaution. Okay. So let's read this again because it is more of a Hausa ruling, or technically a Hausa ruling, that we are applying some rules here. شخص أتى بعمرتين مفردتين. A person performs how many umrah? Two umrahs. Which type of umrah? مفردة. ثم علم بأن وضوءه في إحداهما كان باطلا. Later on realized that one of the wudu was not correct. One of them. That means there's a doubt, either the first or either the second. So we have doubt there. إحداهما كان باطلا لنجاسة مواضعه, because there was a najasat on the on the on the body parts, on the parts of wudu. فما هي وظيفته فعلا? So what is his responsibility in reality? الجواب, the answer: مقتضى الاستصحاب بقاؤه على الإحرام. The application of the rule of istishab, the in bracket previous certainty, the rule of previous certainty, uh, he's in the state of ihram. That means he did not exit. But Sayyidina, which ihram? The first ihram or the second ihram? So he says, on the basis of obligatory precaution, go and perform the Umrah al-Mufrada. فالأحوط وجوبا أن يرجع. On the basis of obligatory precaution, you go back, that means to Masjid al-Haram, and يأتي بأعمال العمرة المفردة, and perform the أعمال of Umrah al-Mufrada. So what he's mentioning here, that one of the Umrah is invalid. One of the Umrah is invalid. Another Umrah is also invalid, because there was a problem with the wudu. But ihram is still there. So he will go back and perform the amal of Umrah al-Mufrada. But there are two Umrahs. So if there are two Umrahs, that means one of the Umrah is correct, and another Umrah he needs to perform it. Now what if these both Umrahs were for him? Let's say it was 29th of Rajab. He completed his Amal of first Umrah and the moon was sighted. Or let's say 30th of Rajab to make it easy. So next day, okay, is the first day of Sha'ban. So he can do one Umrah per month, lunar calendar. So what happens? He went again and performed and entered the Masjid al-Tan'im, entered the state of Ihram, and came back on first Sha'ban, okay, because it was midnight done, and he did the Umrah, and then sun rose, and he went back to the Masjid Tan'im to do another Umrah for himself. So here, if we have this scenario, not two different Umrahs for two different people, then here also this ruling can be understood easily. That means both of the Amal are invalid. That means one Umrah, you are still in the state of Ihram, Tawaf invalid, and if the Tawaf is invalid, Salat al-Tawaf is invalid. If Salat al-Tawaf is invalid, then Sa'i has to be after the Tawaf, and the Sa'i was invalid, then the Taqsir has no effect. Then if the Taqsir is invalid or ineffective, then you have the Tawaf al-Nisa. So the whole package is gone, okay, for both Umrah. And since it was for himself, then he goes and performs the Amal of Umrah al-Mufrada. Okay. That means you're still in the ihram of Rajab. You did not exit the ihram of Rajab. So you are now going to go and do your a'mal of Rajab and Sha'ban. It doesn't matter. You can enter the state of ihram in Rajab and do your a'mal in Sha'ban. So because you don't have to immediately go and do the tawaf and all the manasik of Umrah. So you see here we are having a scenario, two scenarios. One is for two different people, one is for on your behalf only, on your Umrah. So whichever it is, if it was both for you, then this is understood easily. The both are invalid. That means you are still in the ihram, and just go and do your a'mal of Umrah al-Mufrada on the base of obligatory precaution. And then if they were two Umrahs, okay, then one Umrah can be considered correct, another Umrah you have to perform. So that means we have applied Qa'idat al-Faragh on one. These are the scenarios, different scenarios to understand this ruling. The say this is says just perform a'mal of one Umrah. Okay? That means one of them, inshallah, will be correct. Or both of them, if they were your, both of them are invalid, bring one Umrah. So the third problem is, what if these two Umrahs were not on your behalf? Or one of them was fulfilling the nether and one of them was. So then what will happen? Should you be doing two Umrahs based on the thing that both of the Umrahs are invalid and you have to do two Umrahs? Or based on that one Umrah is at least correct and do the second Umrah? So these are the scenarios they can encounter. So as long as the question did not ask about two umrahs for whom they were, shakhsun ata bi umratain mufradatain, a person performs two umrah mufrada. Neither it is mentioned in 2 months, or neither is the question by itself is vague. So the possibility of having one umrah mufrada done, it opens the door. Either both umrahs were invalid for him, he doesn't need to do both umrah, but he's still in the ihram, first ihram. Or no, first umrah was okay, second umrah he needs to do. And the problem is that if it was for two people, two different intentions of umrah, or one was nether and one was the, then that this question does not indicate any of that scenario. Okay. And this is also obligatory precaution. That means there is a kind of possibility that both umrahs would be correct. Why? Because what is impure? What is it, doubting in the invalidity of the wudu, or he has he there was a najasat on his body, and later on he realized. And remember, physical najasat rules are lenient, metaphysical najasat are tough. So if any scenario there was najasat and you forgot, and then you realize, oh my goodness, there was najasat on my body during the tawaf, there are lenient rules for somebody who was not aware about the najasat. Later on he realized, then it will not affect the wudu, because you did not know later on. So not knowing the najasat on the body has physical najasat, has a leniency in rules. But wudu, not having wudu or ghusl or tayammum, whichever is obligatory, that is a tough situation. Okay. Now this scenario is, like many times it happens. Many people, they mess up and they come and they say, oh, we did this umrah, that. And this was happened and that what happened. Baba, why didn't you know the rules before going? And we keep telling this thing that know the rules, okay? And then go for Hajj. It's not an entertaining trip or something like that. السؤال. Seventh question. إذا علم بعد الرجوع إلى وطنه. If he realized after returning to his hometown. if he realized after returning to his hometown ببطلان طوافه في العمرة المفردة جهلا منه ببعض شروطه, that his tawaf of Umrah al-Mufrada was invalid due to the unawareness of some of the conditions. Okay, and conditions are more tough than the obligations, like the construction of tawaf, the obligations of tawaf. Some of the areas there can be some leniency, but the conditions, wudu, those prerequisites of the tawaf, no way. ولا يمكنه الرجوع إلى مكة. He cannot go back to Mecca. The ticket is costly, this, that, issues, no vacation, no nothing, long journey, especially somebody is coming from West and Australia and United States and they're very far. It's not like get on the plane and just in 2 hours you are in Mecca or Medina like in Gulf countries or some closest countries. So now his tawaf is invalid. Okay. Can we say kiss your umrah goodbye? No, he's stuck in the ihram. He's stuck inside the ihram. That means his taqsir was not correct. So what's the ruling now? So he has to wear this libasul ihram, going to the university, libasul ihram, going to the work, libasul ihram. Oh, what will people they think? White Dalai Lama or white Buddhist guy? Baba, let them think whatever you think. You should have known the rulings before going there. So now his tawaf is invalid and he is now back home. And how will he get out of his ihram? He's still in his ihram. يجوز له الاستنابة في مفروض السؤال. It is permissible for him to appoint a representative in the based on the question asked. So you can't go back this and that. There are so many mu'mineen, they go for Umrah nowadays, mashallah, regularly you will find people going there. So make contact and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help. As I said once, there was a whole group of 9, a family of 9 members. It's like a Brady Bunch situation. They all went and then they all did Sa'i, Safa and Marwa from the top floor. So Sa'i invalid, Tawaf and Nisa invalid. Okay. So somebody needs to do the Sa'i and Taqsir. Tell them to do Taqsir and then do the Tawaf and Nisa. So that's what happened. So Alhamdulillah, they were fortunate, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves them. One of the mu'mineen we found there, and he was able to do 9. Finally said, I'm tired, Sheikh. Can I use wheelchair for sa'i? Yes, you can use wheelchair for sa'i. Okay. In tawaf also, if you are not able to, tired and exhausted, you are able to do because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did the tawaf on camel. So tawaf, no problem. You can do tawaf as long as the person who's running the wheelchair is under your control and not you are sleeping and the guys doing the tawaf here and there and messing up with your tawaf and the tawaf of other people who have given you the amanat. Okay, so question number 8. من أدى الحج أو العمرة, whoever performs the Hajj or Umrah ثم تبين له أنه لم يكن يجد الوضوء. Same problem. The wudu was not, he would not perform the wudu properly. So what is his ruling? The answer, the question is, he was not able to, he would not do the wudu properly. He would do the wudu, but there were some technicalities in the wudu, okay, he would not do it properly. So here he's trying to help out. The answer, إذا لم يتأكد من بطلان وضوئه في الطواف وصلاته على الرغم من عدم علمه بجميع أحكامه بنى على صحته ولا شيء عليه. If he was not sure, that means remember doubt, remember qa'idat al-faragh, ruling of completion. So the once you complete and you doubt in the specifics or technicalities. So this is if he was not sure that his wudu was invalid in the tawaf and the salat of tawaf, even though he did not have the knowledge of all the rulings of wudu, he will consider his tawaf correct, his wudu correct, and his tawaf correct, and there is nothing upon him. So if he was not sure, because he said that he used to do wudu, but he would not do it properly. Now this not do it properly was in certain areas which are forgivable, or no, unforgivable areas. So it says there is no problem upon him. This is if he was not sure. That means doubt. And قاعدة الفراغ applies here. وأما مع إحراز بطلانه. However, if he's sure that his wudu is invalid, okay, فيجري عليه حكم تارك الطواف وصلاة جهلا. So the rule of someone who abandoned the tawaf and the salat of tawaf out of unawareness will apply. That means what? You are still in the state of ihram. Kiss your tawaf goodbye, kiss your salah goodbye, and go back and do them. If you're not there, then let someone do it on your behalf. فإن بقي مجال للتدارك كما إذا كان في العمرة المفردة. So if there was enough time to go and perform it, like redo it, okay, such as in Umrah al-Mufrada, because Umrah al-Mufrada you have enough time, there's no deadline. A deadline is before traveling. And Hajj, no, there's deadline, 9th of the Hajj, Umrah al-Tamattu, okay. Such as if there was enough time to he was able to redo them, such as in Umrah Mufrada, or he was in Hajj before the end of month of Dhul Hajj. So Hajj, you have to do all the a'mal, tawaf and salat al-tawaf and tawaf and nisa, everything in the month of Dhul Hajj. تداركهما بنفسه إن أمكنه. He will perform it by himself if it was possible to do so. وإلا استناب, and otherwise he will appoint a representative, such as he came back to his hometown, such as he was not able to, such as he became sick, such as it will be a cause of serious difficulty, hardship, and whatever. Then he will appoint. وأما مع فوات وقت التدارك. However, if there was not enough time to go and perform it, كما إذا كانت عمرة التمتع, such as it was the tawaf of عمرة التمتع, Umrah of Hajj, بعد الزوال من يوم عرفة, after the noon time of the day of Arafah. أو كان في الحج مع انقضاء شهر ذي الحجة. Or it was the amal of Hajj, tawaf of Hajj, after completion of the month of Dhul Hajj. So what will happen here? Kiss your Hajj goodbye. فَقَدْ بَطَلَ نُسْكَهُ. His manasik, nusk is from manasik. Manasik al-Hajj are invalid. Okay? Let's see ruling number 9. إذا تبين بعد الحج بطلان طوافه. If it was realized after the Hajj that his tawaf is invalid. بطلان طوافه لبطلان وضوئه, due to the invalidity of the wudu. This we did it, nail polish ruling. لوجود الحاجب كان يجهل. We did not know that there was something which prevents the water from reaching. Then what will happen? The answer, he has to perform his tawaf before the end of the Hajj. Then if he is not able to perform his tawaf, so this ruling is ruling of Hajj. That ruling was ruling of Umrah we mentioned, or in general it was tawaf. So it's more specific about the Hajj, but the rule is one. So if he's not able to remove the barrier which prevents the water from reaching the nail or the skin. Okay, then and he realized at the end يلزمه تدارك. He must fix the problem and redo the tawaf and the salat of tawaf until the end of the hajj is the time. If he misses that time, فإن فاته التدرج بطل حجه, his hajj will become invalid if he does not fix that problem in the month of the Hajj, like he has until, because we are done with Hajj in the 12th of the Hajj, so he has enough time until the end of the Hajj, until 30th if the moon is not sighted, or until 29th of the Hajj if the moon is sighted. But there we said there is this on the basis of obligatory precaution, there will be a camel. Okay, it's a camel zone. So ولكن لا تلزمه كفارة بدنة, but the penalty of camel will not be obligatory. Okay, not be necessary, because it is specific for those people who abandon the tawaf out of unawareness about the ruling. So they were not aware about the ruling. Okay, those are the ones they pay the penalty of camel. Ruling number 10. من أدى أعمال حج التمتع ورجع إلى وطنه. I think we also did this. Somebody performed the أعمال of Hajj التمتع and he came back to his hometown and he was sure that he was in the state of metaphysical impurity or janaba or sexual defilement في أوقات أدائه للمناسك. That means his ghusl was not correct, okay, or he forgot to do ghusl. However, he performed the tawaf and he was in the state of janaba for awqat adaihi lil manasik. So what is his responsibility? While he performed his manasik, he was in the state of janaba. Okay, he became sure, yaqeen, tayaqqana. Somehow he realized either his ghusl was invalid, either he forgot to do something happened that he was still in the state of janaba. So the answer is, if he was in the state of janaba and he forgot about it, okay, he remembered afterward. إذا كان ناسيا للجنابة فحجه صحيح. If he had forgotten about the janaba, then his hajj is correct. ولكن عليه قضاء الطواف وصلاته. However, it is obligatory upon him to perform the tawaf, qada, make up the tawaf and the salat of tawaf. إذا وإذا لم يكن متمكنا من الرجوع فله الاستنابة. If he was not able to go back to Makkah after returning to hometown or whatever reason, then he will have to appoint an agent to perform that on his behalf. An agent, a naib, yani, representative. He needs to appoint somebody who could do it on his behalf. So that is one, that he had forgotten the janaba. Nasiyan lil janaba. Somebody who forgot the janaba. Okay. So the question is, he came back to hometown and he realized, yaqeen, he became assured that he was in the state of janaba. Being on the state of janaba, okay, could be either he forgot, that means he knows the ruling. So there will be a leniency on him because he knows the ruling, but he forgot. But if somebody was not aware about the ruling of janaba and ghusl al-janaba, oh, that's a serious crime. Why didn't you learn? Okay, people, they enjoy janaba, but they don't want to finish the mess. They don't want to clean up the impurity. So وَإِذَا كَانَ جَاهِلًا بِجَنَابَتِهِ. So see, for somebody who forgot, there is a leniency. Okay, his hajj is going to be correct, but he has to go and do the tawaf and salat of tawaf. If he's not able to go back, appoint a representative. But what if somebody was unaware about the ruling of janaba? or unaware that he is in the state of janaba. That means he doesn't know anything about entering the state of janaba. He did not learn the rules about janaba. Okay? وَإِذَا كَانَ جَاهِلًا بِجَنَابَتِهِ. He did not know that he is in the state of janaba. Okay, how could you not know? These rules are easy. Everyone should be knowing the rules of janaba. Oh, I did not know. Okay. فَحَجُّهُ بَاطِل. Okay, kiss your hajj goodbye. وَعَلَيْهِ. So here there is a difference between for somebody who forgot and somebody who was unaware about the janaba. And unawareness of janaba could be due to the lack of the knowledge of ruling or due to the lack of the knowledge of being in the state of janaba. So jahil bil hukum means he knows that something came out or he became mujnib, but he doesn't know the rulings of purification. So they doesn't know that he's najis. Okay, he's impure. So he knows the ruling, but he doesn't know he's pure. So here we say jahil bil mawdu'. He knows the ruling, he knows the hukum, but he doesn't know the what they say, the state. He's in the state of janaba. For him, it's just like wet dream. Khalas, I mean, it's okay. It's like just something coming out of nose or spitting or something like that. So he is unaware that he is in a state of impurity with all this hassle going on in wet dreams and whatever. So that's number one. Number two, he knows that he's in najasa, but he doesn't know the ruling of purification from najasa. So that's why he says that وَإِنْ كَانَ جَاهِلًا بِجَنَابَتِهِ, if he was unaware about his janaba, metaphysical sexual impurity, فَحَجُّهُ بَاطِل, his hajj is invalid. Now Sayyidina, what about the kafara? The kafara, the penalty is camel on the basis of obligatory precaution. But in which case, unaware about the ruling or unaware about the being in the state of janaba. As he said, he knows that he's in the state of janaba, but he doesn't know the ruling of what to do in the state of janaba. Or he knows the ruling of state of janaba, but he doesn't know that he is in the state of janaba. So again, he knows he's in the state of janaba, but he doesn't know the ruling. What should he do? Or he knows the ruling. I have to do purify myself in ghusl, but he doesn't know that what happened from him is janaba. So, so these are the two scenarios. So he says if he doesn't know the ruling, then the penalty of camel will be on the basis of obligatory precaution. وَإِنْ كَانَ جَاهِلًا بِالْحُكْمِ لَلْمَوْضُوعِ, if he was unaware about the ruling and not the subject itself, not the condition of the ruling, like the situation. Okay, the mawdu', the subject of janaba, he knows the ruling, but he doesn't know that what makes him in the state of janaba. What are these things which are he's encountering? So then the penalty will be for not knowing the ruling. Not knowing the situation, there's no penalty. Hajj, invalidation of Hajj is the biggest penalty. Maybe somebody can give him a camel gift for 2,000 or 1,000, but Hajj nowadays is $15,000, $10,000 to $15,000. So it's more costly or equal to the price of the camel. I mean, you can ask Mullah Google, Mullah ChatGPT, how much is the average price of the camel in Saudi Arabia or in these Gulf countries where they sell camels. But but before it was like $10,000 for one camel. Okay, ruling number 11. شخص وجب عليه غسل مس الميت فنسي وحج كذلك فما هو حكمه? A person who was obligated to perform ghusl of touching the dead body, but he forgot and performed the hajj in that state. What is the ruling? The ruling is as the ruling of the one who forgets the ghusl of janaba, as it is going to be explained in the upcoming questions. Okay. And ruling of the somebody who forgot the ghusl janaba was, we said that if he forgot, because this is forgetting, not unawareness. Remember, forgetting is a bit softer. Forgetting is kiss your Hajj goodbye. For forgetting is, sorry, for not knowing is kiss your Hajj goodbye, unawareness. For forgetting, just the tawaf and the kiss your tawaf goodbye and the umrah, but somebody, you can do it or someone else can do it on your behalf. Ruling number 12. إذا نسي الشخص جنابته فأتى بأعمال العمرة المفردة والحج وهو جنب فما حكمه? We said this before also. Somebody forgets, okay, uh, it's a bit lenient. If someone forgot that he's in the state of janaba and performed the amal of umrah and hajj and he is in the state of janaba, so what is his ruling? Same. We said that he performs the if he had performed the tawaf, and the salat of tawaf is going to be invalid, and he should go and perform the tawaf and salat of tawaf. If he is not able to, then if is not able to, then he would do qada. If he is not able to do qada later on, then he would appoint someone as a representative. امرأة عليها غسل مس الميت. Again, ghusl of touching the dead body. Now, not anyone who touches the dead body, he must perform the ghusl, obligatory, becomes najis. Okay? So, what is the ruling of touching the dead body? بعد برده وقبل غسله. After the body becomes cold, you touch, and before washing it. So, if the body is warm and you touch it, you don't have to perform you're not in the state of metaphysical impurity. Yes, if you touch with wetness, you need to wash, because that body becomes najis until it is washed. So you need to wash your hands, okay, if you touch with wetness. If you touch it with dryness, no washing the hand. So remember, ba'da bardeh, after cooling down of the body, and before ghusl, before performing the ghusl of the dead body. In between this range, if you touch the dead body, you become impure. Before this, before cooling down, if you touch the dead body, obviously with wetness, you have to purify your hand only, or whatever touched the dead body with wetness. So, ba'da bard, after cooling it down and before washing, somebody touched, he needs to perform ghusl masil mayyit. He did not perform ghusl masil mayyit. And then there was tawaf while they were going for Hajj after Masjid Sajara, after Miqat. And so after doing Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, someone went into hyperbolic state of spirituality, and he got a spiritual trauma and got a heart attack and died there. Now what should we do? For example, what should we do? Okay. So in that case, the guy is in the state of ihram, and the dead body cooled down. Okay. And he touched the dead body. So now what will he do? That's the question here. Question number 13. Imra alayha ghusl masil mayyit. A woman, she has to perform ghusl masil mayyit. It's ghusl masil mayyit, excuse me, is obligated upon her. ولم تغتسل لكونها حائضا بتوهم عدم صحة الغسل حينئذ. And she did not perform the ghusl. Which ghusl? Ghusl of the dead body, because she was in her monthly period, in haid. And she thought, okay, she thought that her ghusl will be invalid because she's already in period. How can she do the ghusl mas al-mayyit and she is in the period? ونسيت ذلك عندما اغتسلت للحيض. And she forgot about this mas al-mayyit, touching the dead body, ghusl of touching the dead body. And she performed only the ghusl with the intention of ghusl of monthly period. And then she performed the amal of Hajj. ولم تتذكر إلا بعد الفراغ من أعمال الحج. And she did not remember, oh, I have a ghusl of Masl Mayyit after performing the amal of Hajj. So what should she do? She had two ghusls, ghusl Masl Mayyit and ghusl al-Hayd. What should she do? So obviously, if janaba and most these major ghusls, they cover up this other type of major ghusl. And you can do it with one intention, several ghusl. So he says the answer is يجزيها غسل الحيض عن غسل مس الميت. It will be sufficient for her. Her ghusl of hayd, monthly periods ghusl, ceremonial bath, will be sufficient for the ghusl mas al-mayyit, for the ceremonial bath of the touching of the dead body. That means ghusl, her monthly period ghusl will be sufficient, and so no need to worry about it. Okay, question number 14. هل يستحب, is it recommended to perform the ghusl to enter the Masjid al-Haram ولو لم يستحب فما حكم من جاء إلى مكة واغتسل لدخول المسجد ولم يتوضأ وطاف. Now you know this ghusl, recommended ghusl. There's a huge issue and discussion and differences in front of our scholars. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve their lives and extend their lives, and those who have left this world, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their status and keep them with Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So ghusl are two types. Sayyid al-Khuy Quddas al-Sirru said, if the ghusl, the recommendation of the ghusl, the narration of the recommendation of ghusl is authentic, then by default that ghusl is sufficient for wudu. By default, it's all about the narration. It's all about the authenticity of the narration. However, if the narration is not authentic, the istihbab recommendation is not proven, therefore one will perform that ghusl based on the hope of its requirement, raja al-matlubiyya. Okay, so that's the main ruling for ghusl. Narration authentic, ghusl sufficient for wudu, recommended ghusl. Narration not authentic, ghusl not sufficient. Like ghusl ziyarat Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, the narrations which recommend the ghusl is not sufficient, is not strong, is not strongly authentic. So that's why for Sayyid al-Khou'i, in the late of times of his life, he just backed off that. Before he used to say ghusl ziyarat Imam Hussein is sufficient for wudu, but later he found out the narrations had problems, so he backed off and he says no, ghusl ziyarat Imam Hussein is not sufficient for wudu. So Sayyid Sistani Damadullah, he's asked this question that is it recommended to do ghusl to enter Masjid al-Haram? Because it's written, يستحب الغسل لدخول مسجد الحرام دخول الحرم, entering the border of Makkah, and then you do the ghusl before after entering the border, like in your hotel, to enter the Masjid al-Haram. Then there's ghusl of tawaf. Then so it's like an onion, ghusl after until you reach the tawaf, until you reach the Kaaba. So what about this ghusl? هل يستحب الغسل لدخول مسجد الحرام, to enter Masjid al-Haram? I did my ghusl from the hotel to enter Masjid al-Haram. Is it mustahab? If it is not mustahab, So what is the ruling of someone who came to Makkah and performed the ghusl to enter the masjid? وَلَمْ يَتَوَضَّأْ وَطَافَ. And he did not do wudu, thinking that the ghusl is sufficient, and did the tawaf. So for Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah, he says, لم يثبت استحباب الغسل له ليكون مغنيا عن الوضوء. Same ruling of Sayyid al-Khuwi. The recommendation of the ghusl of entering the Masjid al-Haram is not proven to me, obviously. لم يثبت to me. Some others might have. In order to be sufficient for wudu. So it's not proven. So it's not sufficient for wudu. ومن اكتفى به في الاتيان بطواف نسكه فعليه رعاية الاحتياط ولو بالتوضؤ وإعادة الطواف مع بقاء محل التدارك أو الرجوع إلى الغير في الاجتزاء بمثل هذا الغسل عن الوضوء. Perfect. So there are two solutions. He says, to me, it's not proven. Same like Sayyid al-Khuy for Ghusl Ziyarat al-Imam Hussein. He says, to me, it's not proven. So this person can refer, who performed all this, can refer to someone, some other marja, who says it's proven to me. Okay. Now let me give you a scenario. Some ulamas, they say that certain ghusl is proven to him that mustahab, like ghusl ziyarat al-Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Some maraja. But the sufficiency of the ghusl of the ghusl is questioned. Like I'll give you an example which happened in our time of Sayyid al-Khuy Quddas al-Sirru and Sayyid al-Rawhani. So Sayyid al-Khuy Quddas al-Sirru, he used to say Ghusl Ziyarat al-Imam al-Hussein is sufficient for wudu. You don't need to do wudu. So people, they started going to the bathroom. They will do the ghusl of Ziyarat al-Imam al-Hussein, come out of the bathroom and say, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and then offer their dhuhr and asr. They did the ziyarat. The minimum ziyarat is Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussein wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You did ziyarat. That is ziyarat. So you say that is enough. Then complications started until finally, with Q&A sessions happening between Sayyid al-Khuy and between our youth. And so anyhow, after the communication, Sayyid al-Khuy decided غسل زيارة الإمام حسين غير مجزي عن الوضوء. Why? He found a problem in the narration which was proving that ghusl of Ziyarat Imam Hussein is mustahab. So now people started sending questions to Sayyid al-Khuy, bombarding. Sayyidina, we did a lot of ghusl and did ziyarat. What will happen to our salat? Do we have to redo the salat? He said, yes, you have to redo the salat. But what's our fault? Okay, he said, no problem. He found a solution. He says, find a marja who says ghusl ziyarat al-Imam Hussein is mustahab. Istihbab is proven to him. So maraja, they can have different opinion. So they found Sayyid Muhammad al-Rawhani rahmatullah alayh. He said that ghusl ziyarat al-Imam Hussein is mustahab. But what's the problem with that? He doesn't have the concept that if ghusl is mustahab, it's sufficient for wudu. He says, if the ghusl is mustahab, you have to do wudu. Wudu is something, istihbab of ghusl is something. Only janaba and those things they have. But recommended ghusl, if it's proven to be recommended, you have to do wudu. In any case. Oh my goodness. So what will we do now? So they asked Sayyid al-Khuy Quddas al-Sirr, Sayyidina, we found someone who says that ghusl ziyarat Imam Hussein mustahab, but he doesn't allow us to suffice for wudu. So he says, no problem. If a marja who's valid, authentic, he tells you that the ghusl is mustahab, take the istihbab from him and come back to me and take the ruling of sufficiency of ghusl mustahab from me for the case of Ziyarat Imam Hussein. Did you understand? Go to that marja for taking the istihbab from him, recommendation, and then come to me, apply my rule upon if the ghusl is mustahab, then wudu is not needed. And you are done. And many, they have to know. Now, there are people, they say, oh, what is this? Baba, if this is something which is related to the evidence, we thank Allah that we have this great Maraja, very peculiar about the narrations of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. Aren't we following Kitab Allah wa itrati Ahl al-Bayti? A narration could be authentic in front of one scholar and could not be authentic in front of another. It's normal. So these technicalities sometimes open the door of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take it as a positive. Why you have to take it as a negative? Oh, what is this? Going here and going there. And Baba, if you don't understand, don't judge. Become a marja and then you will understand. But you are not marja. You are not qualified. You are not, even you have a Hausa student and then you start attacking the maraja. What are these? Going there and coming back to me and khalas, tell him that your wudu is okay, your ghusl is okay, you're done. No, 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 no. This is the amanat of our maraja. Sayyid al-Khui's methodology. If ghusl is proven to be recommended, no need for wudu. Other maraja, top maraja, they are not simple maraja. They say if the wudu is recommended and proven to be recommended, you need to do wudu. Only some wajib ghusls, the wudu is not needed. But for mustahab ghusl, you need to do. So Sayyid al-Ruhani, rahmatullah alayhi, he had this ghusl mustahab of Ziyarat Imam Hussain. So refer to Sayyid al-Ruhani, take the recommendation from him of the ghusl, all the ghusl you did. And then take the sufficiency of wudu, that the ghusl is sufficient for wudu, from me. Fine. If that marja has declared the ghusl is mustahab, I respect that marja. You can go to that marja. Take this rule. But that marja does not say it's sufficient for wudu. Fine, come to me. Apply that istihbab on my ruling, which is because you're following, doing my taqlid. So you can apply my taqlid. But for me, I don't want to take the responsibility of that ghusl being mustahab. It's all about Kamil al-Ziyarat. Kamil al-Ziyarat, the entire book was authentic. And in the authentic, that means the riwayat of the ghusl are authentic. So later on, Sayyid al-Khuy Quddasa found out some of the narrators who narrated the narration of the ghusl in Kamil al-Ziyarat found out that there were problematic narrations, not authentic. So that's why he changed his view about Kamil al-Ziyarat from all to majority. And then this was the result that he changes opinion about the wudu being sufficient for ghusl. So that is the situation. So say this Sistani, he does the same thing here. So he says that لم يثبت, to me, that ghusl of entering the Masjid al-Haram is not proven. لم يثبت استحباب الغسل له. The recommendation of the ghusl to enter the Masjid al-Haram is not proven to me in order for it to be sufficient for wudu. So Sayyidina, what should we do? Some people, they did. Some of the caravans, they go for Hajj, the Maulanas, they read the narration and make them, they don't read the fatwa, they read the narration. Oh, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said this is when you enter the Masjid al-Haram, do your ghusl, you'll get this much reward, reward, reward. Incentives are given, and they do without having knowledge about the fatwa. So when you go for Hajj, don't look at the narrations. There are some authentic, non-authentic. Look at the fatwa of your marja. What does he say? So he said, وَمَنْ اكْتَفَى بِهِ فِي الْإِتْيَانِ, and whoever sufficed with that ghusl by performing his tawaf and his salat of tawaf, depending on such ghusl, obligatory tawaf and obligatory salat, فَعَلَيْهِ رِعَايَةُ الْإِحْتِيَاطِ. So what should he do? Observe precautionary measures by redoing the wudu, by performing the wudu and redoing the tawaf. So observe the precautionary measures by performing the wudu and redoing the tawaf مع بقاء محل التدارك, as long as you are able to redo. If not, say now, how if I have I can't redo? He says our الرجوع إلى الغير, or refer to another مرجع في الاجتزاء, in the sufficiency of such ghusl, the ghusl of دخول الإحرام, دخول المسجد الحرام, such ghusl for wudu. So so refer to someone else who says that this ghusl is sufficient for wudu. I don't have any problem with that. So you refer to, if you find someone who says like that, refer to him, as long as he's a proper marja, proper mujtahid. And ruling question number 15, we will end till question number 15 for today. هل استحباب غسل زيارة الكعبة يشمل ما لو أراد دخول المسجد الحرام بنحو يرى فيه الكعبة، أم يحتاج إلى عمل خاص بعنوان زيارتها كطواف البيت؟ So there's another ghusl, which is ghusl of visiting the Kaaba. Ghusl, so that was ghusl entering the Masjid al-Haram, now ghusl visiting the Kaaba. So what is this ghusl of visiting the Kaaba? Ghusl of visiting the Kaaba, let's go a bit, okay. What is this ghusl of visiting the Kaaba? Ghusl of visiting the Kaaba, so there's ghusl of entering the Masjid al-Haram, it's not proven. But ghusl of visiting the Kaaba is proven to say this Sistani. The questioner asks, so if I enter Masjid al-Haram and I just see the Kaaba, that means my ghusl is okay? He says, no, do the tawaf. Ghusl of visiting of the Kaaba is if you intend to do the tawaf around the Kaaba, not just like just visit, look and come back and then you do your Salat al-Dhuhr and Asr with that ghusl. No. So he says that هل استحباب غسل زيارة الكعبة is the ghusl of visiting the Kaaba يشمل ما لو أراد دخول المسجد الحرام, is it inclusive, is that ghusl inclusive to if he wanted to enter the Masjid al-Haram in a way that he wants to look at the Kaaba. النظر إلى الكعبة عبادة, looking at the Kaaba is عبادة. So you just want to do that worship, no tawaf, no nothing, and then he will pray Dhuhr and Asr with that ghusl. So is that like ghusl going to be sufficient? أم يحتاج إلى عمل خاص بعنوان زيارته كطواف البيت? Or no, some specific consideration is required, such as performing, such as visiting the Kaaba in order to perform the tawaf. So he says the answer al-ahwat, on the basis of obligatory precaution, al-iqtisaru ala ma law arada tawaf bil bayt, to limit the intention of that ghusl in order to be sufficient for wudu if he had intended to do the tawaf around the Kaaba. So on the basis of obligatory precaution, to limit the intention of that ghusl, that if he was intending to do the tawaf around the Kaaba. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.